بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا وإمامنا وحبيبنا أبي القاسم محمد بن عبد الله وعلى آله وصحبه والتابعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. I praise Allah Almighty and I send prayers and blessings upon Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his noble family, righteous companions, and all those that follow them with right guidance until the day of judgment. Ameen. Glory be to you, O Allah. No knowledge have we except that which you have taught us. Indeed, you are the all-knowing, the all-wise. My dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hope everyone is doing well. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from us our fasting, our qiyam, our Qur'an, all of the good deeds that we are performing in this blessed month. We continue the tafsir of Surah al-Baqarah, and today the verse comes after the verse that we dealt with last time, which was the saying of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, بَعْدَ أَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ بِسْمِ اللَّهِ الرَّحْمَنِ الرَّحِيمِ وَلَن تَرْضَى عَنْكَ الْيَهُودُ وَلَا النَّصَارَى حَتَّى تَتَّبِعَ مِلَّتَهُمْ. We talked about this verse quite a bit, the meaning of that the Jews and the Christians will not be satisfied with you until you follow their religion. But today's verse now, we can see is connected to that one as well, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, الَّذِينَ آتَيْنَاهُمُ الْكِتَابَ يَتْلُونَهُ حَقَّ تِلَاوَتِهِ أُولَٰئِكَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِهِ وَمَنْ يَكْفُرْ بِهِ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْخَاسِرُونَ. So, if in that verse Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was putting the Prophet ﷺ and the companions radiallahu anhum ajma'in in despair of the Jews and the Christians, being pleased with them until they follow their way. So in other words, have no hope in that. Be in despair that they will be pleased or satisfied until you follow their religion. So it might seem like a very dark and gloomy picture. They will never be pleased, they will never be satisfied. Does that mean they are all that way? No, there are some who are an exception. الَّذِينَ آتَيْنَاهُمُ الْكِتَابِ, those to whom we have given the book, يَتْلُونَهُ حَقَّ تِلَاوَتِهِ, they recite it its true recitation. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling the believers, there are others that are different. Those are the ones who recite the book its true recitation. يَتْلُونَهُ حَقَّ تِلَاوَتِهِ الَّذِينَ آتَيْنَاهُمُ الْكِتَابِ. Okay? Now, this ayah, you may read in some tafsirs that it has a reason of a revelation. That Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma said that this verse was revealed for the people of the boat that were with Ja'far ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu when he was coming back from Al-Habasha. That this verse was revealed for that. However, it seems, wallahu a'lam, that this is weak. And this is not the reason of revelation for the ayah, but you might find it in some of the tafsirs. For more on that, maybe you can ask me later. But let's move on. الَّذِينَ آتَيْنَاهُمُ الْكِتَابِ يَتْلُونَهُ حَقَّ تِلَاوَتِهِ. Here clearly we said Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us about those who are praiseworthy, who are not like the rest. So he used the phrase what? الَّذِينَ آتَيْنَاهُمُ الْكِتَابِ. And this expression appears some 7 or 8 times in the Qur'an, and in all of those situations Allah is praising the people of the book. So this phrase, this expression is used when Allah is praising the people of the book. الَّذِينَ آتَيْنَهُمُ الْكِتَابِ يَعْرِفُونَهُ كَمَا يَعْرِفُونَ أَبْنَاءَهُم. Right? And there are other examples as well. I'm kind of short on time. الَّذِينَ آتَيْنَاهُمُ الْكِتَابِ يَتْلُونَهُ حَقَّ تِلَاوَتِهِ. There are some of the people of the book to whom we have given the book, they recite it its true recitation. يَتْلُونَهُ حَقَّ تِلَاوَتِهِ. Interestingly, Imam Qatada said that this applies to the Sahaba, the Prophet ﷺ and the Sahaba. الَّذِينَ آتَيْنَاهُمُ الْكِتَابِ, as if they have been given the book, knowledge of the book, and they recite it its true recitation. يَتْلُونَهُ حَقَّ تِلَاوَتِهِ. Possibly because it wasn't quite clear how يَتْلُونَهُ حَقَّ تِلَاوَتِهِ, they recited its true recitation, can possibly apply to the people of the book. But it seems, wallahu a'lam, that the correct opinion is that this refers to the people of Ahlul Kitab who eventually accepted Islam and followed their books and implemented what is mentioned in their books and believed and followed Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. الَّذِينَ آتَيْنَاهُمُ الْكِتَابِ يَتْلُونَهُ حَقَّ تِلَاوَتِهِ. Ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhuma, Ibn Mas'ud, Al-Hasan al-Basri, Ata, Mujahid, Qatada, Ibrahim al-Nakha'i and others all said and explained what يَتْلُونَهُ حَقَّ تِلَاوَتِهِ means. They recited its true recitation. What could that mean? They all said يَتَّبِعُونَهُ حَقَّ اتِّبَاعِهِ. They follow it, the true following. This is the meaning of يَتْلُونَهُ حَقَّ تِلَاوَتِهِ. They recite it its true recitation means they follow it to the letter. They follow it properly and religiously. It tells us tilawah is more than just recitation. Tilawah is implementation and action. They said يَتَّبِعُونَهُ حَقَّ اتِّبَاعِهِ. And this is why Al-Imam al-Tabari, because he mentioned also another opinion of Imam Qatada, who said يَتْلُونَهُ حَقَّ تِلَاوَتِهِ means يَقْرَؤُونَهُ حَقَّ قِرَاءَتِهِ. Usually when we talk about tilawah, we're talking about qira'ah, recitation. So he said يَتْلُونَهُ حَقَّ تِلَاوَتِهِ. They read it, it's true reading, it's true recitation. But Al-Imam al-Tabari then said, the correct opinion is this: يَتَّبِعُونَهُ حَقَّ اتِّبَاعِ. They follow it completely. Why? Because he called it a consensus. Because of the consensus of the authorities on tafsir that I just mentioned to you now. They all said يَتَّبِعُونَهُ حَقَّ اتِّبَاعِهِ. الَّذِينَ آتَيْنَاهُمُ الْكِتَابِ يَتْلُونَهُ حَقَّ تِلَاوَتِهِ. We may ask ourselves, then why does that expression appear? If it was يَتَّبِعُونَهُ حَقَّ اتِّبَاعِهِ, that could have easily been the expression. The expression came about tilawah. يَتْلُونَهُ حَقَّ تِلَاوَتِهِ. It shows you that tilawah is more than just reading. Tilawah is implementation as well. It's action. We may talk about tilawat lafz and then tilawat ma'na. Yes, there is a tilawah, which is the recitation, the actual recitation, but there's a tilawah which means following the Qur'an, implementing what you are reciting. Much more than just the recitation. Subhanak ya Rabbi. But then another interesting question. We are talking about Ahlul Kitab, those who have been given the book. الَّذِينَ آتَيْنَهُمُ الْكِتَابِ يَتْلُونَهُ حَقَّ تِلَاوَتِهِ. They recite it its true recitation. Is there a tilawah for the Injil? Is there a tilawah for the Torah? Interesting question. Maybe before it was adulterated and corrupted, they used to recite it in the same way we recite the Qur'an. Do they recite it in their prayers? Possibly. The Jews and the Christians, we see the Jews also reciting the Torah in their own way. There is a recitation. Not exactly obviously like the Qur'an, but there is a recitation. يَتْلُونَهُ حَقَّ تِلَاوَتِهِ. So, it means that they should follow it and implement it. But it also gives us the meaning of tilawah, which is proper reading. And if we apply it to the Qur'an, my brothers and sisters, yes, there is a proper way to read the Qur'an. Nowadays, subhanallah, it's funny to watch how, especially some of the Christians, are imitating the tajweed of the Qur'an when they are reciting their book. Because they see that scores and scores of people have turned their back to the Bible and they want to bring them back. And just reciting it as regular prose is immensely boring. Because as we know, they are not the words of Allah. They are the words written down by people, like stories. How can you actually recite it? So they are starting, especially those who recited it in Arabic, they're trying to recite it with the same kind of tajweed that we recite the Qur'an with, to bring people back, to make it attractive to the followers. يَتْلُونَهُ حَقَّ تِلَاوَتِهِ. Those who have been given the book, the Torah or the Injil, they recite it, its true recitation. They recite it and they follow it. يَتَّبِعُونَهُ حَقَّ اتِّبَاعِ. We can make reference to the Qur'an. And scholars of tafsir also use this expression, يَتْلُونَهُ حَقَّ تِلَاوَتِهِ. Are we reciting the Qur'an حَقَّ تِلَاوَتِهِ? If we will read it the proper way and we will follow it and implement it. There is a proper way to recite the Qur'an, my brothers and sisters, and guess what? That is the only way to recite the Qur'an. There is no other way. There is no way where you recite the Qur'an without the tajweed. Unless, obviously, that person maybe hasn't learned the recitation of the Qur'an. But to say that that is an acceptable recitation is not correct. The correct way is the way it was sent to and revealed to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this is why, wallahu a'lam, the correct opinion is that practical tajweed is wajib. Reciting the Qur'an with tajweed is an obligation, practically, not theoretically, practically. So if you don't know Arabic, you don't know theoretical tajweed, but you are implementing the ahkam of the tajweed because you learned with a reciter or a scholar, that's what is required. يَتْلُونَهُ حَقَّ تِلَاوَتِهِ. But like we said, if the authorities on tafsir said يَتَّبِعُونَهُ حَقَّ اتِّبَاعِ, that means there is much more to tilawah. Subhanak ya Rabb. And the Prophet ﷺ seems to have indicated that there is going to be a time where people are just reciting, but that's about it. That's all the Qur'an means. Look at the situation of the Ummah today. Where is the Qur'an? Has the Qur'an not been marginalized? Are we doing يَتْلُونَهُ حَقَّ تِلَاوَتِهِ? Are we reciting it its true recitation? Or has the Qur'an just become another book that we recite? We love it, but where is it in our lives? Where is the implementation? Where is يَتْلُونَهُ حَقَّ تِلَاوَتِهِ? Not يَتْلُونَهُ. We are doing tilawah, and sometimes even that tilawah is no good. We are doing يَتْلُونَهُ. We want يَتْلُونَهُ حَقَّ تِلَاوَتِهِ. This is why Abu Abdurrahman al-Sulami, of the greatest of the tabi'een in the Qur'an, he said, those who taught us the Qur'an, like Uthman ibn Affan and Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, they used to tell us, they would only learn 10 ayat from the Prophet ﷺ, and they would implement it before they move on to the next 10. So they said, we learned the Qur'an and knowledge and implementation all together. And this is why Imam Malik in Al-Muwatta mentions that Ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma took how many years to learn Al-Baqarah? 8 years. Because he's not just learning to recite it. He's learning to recite, and he's learning all of the knowledge in it. So if we take a year or two learning the tafsir of Surah Al-Baqarah, it is very normal. I think that's approximately how much it'll take, or longer. This is how they used to learn the Qur'an. يَتْلُونَهُ حَقَّ تِلَاوَتِهِ أُولَٰئِكَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِهِ. The Prophet ﷺ told us, you know what the problem is, brothers and sisters? You and I are drinking the Qur'an. This is the problem. Everyone's looking at me in bewilderment. Sheikh, what do you mean we are drinking the Qur'an? Who is drinking the Qur'an? The Prophet ﷺ said that there will be a time when people will drink the Qur'an like they drink milk. The kind of recitation that we see nowadays, right? ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. What came to your mind? Absolutely nothing. Because you're reciting it as if you are drinking milk. Does that mean we cannot recite it a little bit faster in Ramadan? We can, for the sake of reward. But is that what it was revealed for? The kind of tilawah that we do in Ramadan, which may be a little bit faster? No. The true tilawah. A tilawah which has understanding, which has tadabbur, which has tafakkur, right? Not this kind of recitation. And this is why, and wallahu a'lam, it seems that hadith is pejorative. It is not praising those who drink the Qur'an. It seems that it is negative and blameworthy. Al-Ustad al-Imam, as he is mentioned in Tafseer al-Manar, Muhammad Abdu, when he was talking about this ayah, this was mentioned to him. So one of the students, Rashid Rida, mentions that he is from the Muqallideen. Again, seemingly a pejorative and negative term. So he asks him, didn't the scholars say, يُتَعَبَّدْ بِتِلَاوَتِهِ? That the Qur'an, part of our worship in the Qur'an is reciting it. This is worship. He said, yes, but it was not revealed for that. It was revealed for tadabbur. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, كِتَابٌ أَنزَلْنَاهُ إِلَيْكَ مُبَارَكٌ لِيَدَّبَّرُوا آيَاتِهِ. It is for tadabbur, for a slower recitation, for understanding the Qur'an. Not the way we look at the Qur'an today. We want to go back to يَتْلُونَهُ حَقَّ تِلَاوَتِهِ. When we used to do يَتْلُونَهُ حَقَّ تِلَاوَتِهِ, the ummah was at the top. Was at the top of the civilizational ladder, not at the bottom. Because they used to recite it the way it should be recited, and also they used to implement it. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma also said, يُحِلُّونَ حَلَالَهُ وَيُحَرِّمُونَ حَرَامَهُ. Yes, they permit what is permitted in it, and they forbid what is forbidden. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud said something similar. And he said, by the one in whose hand my soul rests, it is to forbid what is forbidden in it, and to permit what is permitted. and to recite it the way it should be recited, and not to distort it and to interpret it the way it is to be interpreted. This is يتلونه حق تلاوته أولئك يؤمنون به ومن يكفر به فأولئك هم الخاسرون. We will continue inshallah next time. والله أعلم وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد.